Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Return of the Return of the Return of the Return Inception Retro. I am your host, Randark, and alongside me, as always, is Ervik. Hi, Ervik.
Retroception.
It's a thing. See, when you put Return in your title and you go on a long break for whatever reason, when you come back, it just works great. Today is not Sunday, October 19th. Like my doc says, we canceled that because of medical issues involving my other host, who apparently his new house is getting him sick. But he'll get into that, I'm sure. Today is Monday, October 20th. Do you want to talk about your house?
No, it makes me sad. My house, it's fine. I really like my new place. We moved a little bit outside the city. I live in official suburbia now, into a nice little 3-bedroom. It's my first house. It's nice to have my own space, but I swear to God, mortgages were designed and are operated and employed by the devil. They are a way to entrap your soul because no one reads the 185 pages that they have to sign. It's impossible, even if you hire a lawyer to do it, which I did. I still didn't read it. And here we are. I probably now owe my soul to the devil, but that's okay. I have a house to show for it, I guess. And I painted my office, the first thing I did, which is one of our bedrooms. We painted an accent wall like a deep like royal purple, and the other walls are like this like light, almost pea green. I call this room the Donatello room, and it is great.
Now you just need some eye holes and a bow, and you'll be just fine.
I'm actually gonna paint a banner across the top of the purple wall and put some eyes on it. I'm not kidding. It's gonna be awesome.
Okay, so like I said, it's Monday, October 20th. Today was my return to English class. Yay, because I'm still going to school. But enough of bullcrap. What are we talking about this week?
We're talking about Rogue Squadron, not to be confused with Rogue Leader, which is the sequel.
Or Rebel Strike, which is the sequel of the sequel.
The sequel. Sequelception.
What else have you been playing besides the, of course, Rogue Squadron these last few months since we've been on the air?
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm sure I've forgotten some, but been playing a lot of Alien Isolation, which I've been enjoying a lot. It can be very frustrating, but overall the experience has been a lot of fun. It's very close, at least the majority of the game is very close to the first movie, which is the best movie, and if you don't think so, you are wrong. And the end of the game starts to get a little more like Aliens, which is still a good movie, but it's a very different genre of film, and I feel not as good. Objectively, it's still a really good movie, probably on par with Aliens, but Aliens is like the pinnacle of the monster film, and Aliens is, space Marines doing marine-y stuff. It's not scary. No scary.
Would you say
it does have a hide-and-seek champion, Newt, though.
Ooh. Would you say it's better or worse than AVP2, which we played a ton of?
Well, it's a very different game. It's there's some, I think there might be some downloadable multiplayer stuff, maybe not. But it's all a single-player experience, and, you're almost 45 minutes into the game before you see a bad guy. It's very Alien. Tension builds, there's jump scares where it's like cats and dumb shit, but that's Alien. It's great. It's perfect. It works out wonderfully.
That's pretty
and
cool.
Then you spend the whole game, you're on this space station, all right, and you're actually Ellen Ripley's daughter, Amanda, who was mentioned in the first movie and very briefly in the second, and then quickly forgotten about in the really terrible third and fourth films. So you're playing her daughter, and she's hunting for Ellen, trying to figure out what happened to her at this point. And the Nostromo's flight recorder is found by this outer rim, small space station. And so Weyland-Yutani, with clearly sinister motives, bring you on to go with them to look at this space station. You get there, and of course, shit has gone to hell. You don't know what's going on. People are shooting each other. Panic's everywhere, and they keep going, something's murdering everyone. And you, as the player, obviously know what it is, but no one on the space station does. So you start navigating this, and most people are very hostile to you. So there are enemies other than the alien in the game, but the main enemy for 90% of the game is an alien, like a specific alien, and it is unkillable. You can chase it off and stuff, but for the first half of the game, you just hide. You can't do anything. You can distract it, but you can't kill it. Once you get the flamethrower halfway through the game, you can scare it off as long as you have fuel, but it's still a scarce resource. And a lot of sneaking around, a lot of very careful movement. The parts with the alien are freaking awesome. It's one of the best games I've played in years, those parts of the game. The parts with the androids and the people suck. They're stupid. The dialogue isn't that great. The mechanics are kind of, you die in like 2 hits because it's the way the game is designed. But a lot of times you'll come up on scenarios where there's like 6 people and there's a very specific way to get through it. Like you have to figure out what speaker to turn on to draw their attention this way, and then you go over there and do that. But it's very trial and error, and the save points are infrequent, and it can be very frustrating. But the parts of the Alien are great, and it is still worth playing. And that's what I have to say about Alien Isolation, which is more than I thought I would. So
It's actually basically a full review right there. Good job.
yeah, I really enjoy it.
So what else?
I've gotten back into World of Warcraft. It is still the devil, a soul-eating devil, but a very fun one to play. Especially now that Pandaria is over and I don't have to do a billion dailies, which is why I quit in the first place. So I've mostly been doing like old shit. Like I've been doing old raids for gear and mounts and stuff. Not really playing the game proper. Just kind of waiting for the expansion to come out. Reacquainting myself, as it will. I've been leveling a horde. I'm like level 45 now, I think. And that's fun. I've never played horde before, so.
After the guild we were in kind of wasn't there anymore, I started playing horde, and I leveled 1 to 60, I want to say, before I just decided to pay to move one over.
Yeah, I'm sure if I stay on horde, I have a bunch of friends that are old friends from that guild that are playing on Zul'jin, and I may end up moving one of my characters over that's decked out. But I figured for now, while I'm waiting, I'll level. It'll give me something to do, and not a lot going on. So there's that. That's what's going on in WoW. I'm excited about Warlords. I'm not sure if I'll keep playing for a long time. I just don't have the time I used to devote. And you know me, if I'm not raiding and getting the best gear and clearing heroics, it's like, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah, I hear you on that.
I need to be on the cutting edge. So if I can't curb that desire, because I just don't have the time for that, if I can't really just casually enjoy WoW, I'll probably fall back out of it. But we'll see where we're going with that. Another addiction. I have too many addictions now. I've gotten back into Magic the Gathering online and paper. I've been doing a lot of drafting in both the online form and the paper form, and it's fucking awesome, and Magic is great, and they should never stop making it, and find a way to mainline that shit into my veins. Casting spells and tapping mana is awesome.
So Magic the Gathering is still crack. Got it.
Yes, the best crack.
For me, I've actually been playing a lot over the last few months since, I'm not really working and I'm just a college student again. I have lots of free time. So I played all the way through NES Remix except the very last mission, which has you get every single Super Mushroom in Mario 1. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to play through 46 fucking mushrooms. I'm done here. Thanks, though. It was a good game. If you're into retro games and you're listening to this, you probably are. NES Remix is awesome. You get to do a whole bunch of cool stuff, like play as Link in Mario games. It's crazy. And it's on Wii U. It's coming out for the 3DS in December? I want to say December. And apparently you played something else as well. Why don't you get into that before I move on?
Oh yeah, I forgot all about this game because of how quickly I dropped it. I played Destiny, and that game is boring and stupid, and everyone who doesn't think so is wrong. It's like playing an MMO with 3 dungeons. That's it. You go into these tiny dungeons, you murder stuff for loot, and you do it again, and then you do it again, and then and there's no like other stuff. It's like you do this one thing, or you can do the kind of okay Crucible PvP thing, but like that's it. That's it. There's one raid, right? But you have to have 6 people, and you can't matchmake for it. So you have to have 6 friends on your Xbox One or your PlayStation 4 that can get together at the same time and do this really repetitive thing every week. And I don't get it. People fucking love this game, and I don't get it. Just don't get it.
I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately that have people playing it, and I agree with you. It's what you're saying. Just based on what they're saying, it sounds like, and these are people who play MMOs. I'm like, How do you people not realize how bad this sounds when you talk about it? But they're hooked. It's weird. They're hooked.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as like the basics are there. If someone had made this a full-fledged PC MMO and like gave it, dungeons and raids and the whole nine yards rather than like three repeatable quests that you do over and over, uh, this game could actually be a lot of fun. But as it is, it's like a quarter of an MMO. That shit's just not fun at all. Um, The game is really pretty and the story was neat, except it didn't actually finish, which when you figure out, because they never tell you this, when you figure out it's an MMO, you're like, oh, that shit's going to cost money later if they want me to finish the story. Which again is fine. It just, they weren't very clear up front with that it's just an MMO. Like, that's it. And it's got this weird progression system where once you hit level 20, that's the max level. But you can actually get to level 30 because the good gear has this stat on it called light. And when you get to certain tiers of light, you get another quote unquote level. So you actually can get to level 30, but it's all gear based. And that's weird and counterintuitive.
Is it? Is it Mr. World of Warcraft with your eye level bullshit?
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. But your eye level, but your eye level is actually level, like directly translates to level. Like your character sheet shows you a level higher if you have enough high enough eye level.
Is it Mr. I've played tons of Diablo and I like Paragons?
Yo, dude, loot pinatas are great. Like it's again, it would be a great game if they embraced what they were and there was more content, but there's not. And I'm not killing the same 4 bosses for 9 months for loot. It ain't happening.
And are you gonna pay for DLC if it comes out?
No, I traded that shit in at GameStop, yo. That game got me Alien Isolation.
Nice.
And the other thing I played that I forgot about was Dark Souls 2 DLC, because they've come out with 3 DLC packs since we talked last, and that shit is still the best game ever made, and those DLCs are great, and I played through that game like 4 more times.
You are a sick awesome. Man.
I love that game so much. There's one boss I haven't beat, an optional boss in the very last DLC. It's super hard, and I gave up. And I'm going to go back eventually and kill it, but it's the only thing I have not finished. I found every item in the game, beat every boss in the game, found every spell in the game, got every achievement in the game. I'm missing that one boss, and it makes me sad, but I will kill him eventually. It's a boss you fight earlier in the DLC, but you fight 2 of them at once, and that makes it way harder.
There's a kid in my class who actually had this game cost him an extra $50 because he's actually in 3 of my classes that are back to back to back in the same room. We sit at the same desks for like 5 hours. Actually, it's closer to 6, and that's no joke. It's fucking terrible. But he was playing Dark Souls 2, got pissed off, and smashed his fucking remote.
Spoiler, I think I've told you this. I did that to Gears of War back when I was heavily playing Gears of War. I didn't smash my remote, but I was playing, and it was like 2 a.m, right? And I was in the middle of like an epic round, and I had the worst game, and I slammed my hand on my desk, which my 360 was sitting on, and it ringed my game because I jostled the system. Aww. So I had to go to Walmart at 2 a.m. and buy a $60 copy because I was not done playing. And that is a true story.
That is sad, dude. Oh, so back to me. I also, back when we did, what was that starfish game? The platformer where you're a little star guy, and it's got star or something in the name. Why can't I remember that?
It's Ristar. Ristar.
Yeah. Back when we bought that, I bought it on the Wii. Actually, I bought it on the Wii U, but I had to do it through the Wii interface because it wasn't available on the Wii U. And the Wii still hasn't updated its cost things. You still have to buy like $20 worth of Wii cash and then spend it in their store. So I was looking while I was doing that how I could use up the rest, and one of the games I bought was Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, which is a fucking tremendous game, by the way. So I started playing through that, and I got quite a bit of ways, and I've been writing about it in the new blog I've been doing, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But man, I can't believe how, I mean, I read reviews and everything how similar it was to A Link Between Worlds, but wow, is it similar. It's crazy.
Yeah, A Link Between Worlds was essentially like a direct sequel to that game, yo.
Yeah, I didn't realize that because I didn't play the original first, and once again, I fucked up there. That's what happens when you don't grow up with a Super Nintendo. I played a bit more Marvel Heroes. They put Agent Coulson into the game, but you have to play 1 week for 3 months to earn him, and you have to play every day of those 3 months, of the 1 week in those 3 months, to earn some special currency you need to buy him. But he becomes a team up, and you can use him with any character you got. So that's what I've been working on in that. So I've been playing that 1 week out of every month for the last 2. And in November, I think I did October already. In November, I should have Agent Coulson at my side.
So is that like a forever thing, or is this a limited time, get it or lose it type thing?
They said it was going to be a monthly thing. You just got to put the points in to earn him. The time in to earn him. I think you need 2,000 of these things, and you can get 100 of them a day. But you can actually kind of work it where if you get in early enough on the day they're going to patch, you can get an extra 100. So you can actually get 800 per week.
Oh, that sounds like some WoW shit. Game in the system, trying to get a few extra Valor points.
Yeah, pretty much. But either way, it's going to take you, three of the events to get him. So I'll be hitting my 3rd event. I think it's either next week or the week after, which is awesome. I'm really looking forward to finally getting them. My one complaint about that game is I have no extra cash right now, and I am packed to the gills with gear, and I don't want to trade. If you get 3 of the same unique, you can trade it in and get something for it. But if you don't have 3 of them, you just turn it in for more reputation. I don't really need a lot of that anymore, so I'm just stacking up all these uniques. And the same week that you're working on the Agent Coulson stuff, they turn up all the levels of drops. Every day you get an extra, I think it's 25%. So it's extra 25% in day 0, an extra 50, extra 75, extra 100, all the way up to 175, I think. And so shit just starts dropping like crazy towards the end of the week. And you end up with a full bag. And the bags are the only thing you can't expand without paying actual cash. So that's why I haven't been playing it in between those events. I still really enjoy the game. I've got some new characters. I got Thing, who I haven't started, and I picked up someone else. Oh, Cable, who I haven't started either.
I was going to say, did you buy X-23, or as I call her, Slutty Wolverine?
No, they did have an offer if you pre-ordered like 6 characters that are coming in the next year. You got her for free. And I haven't paid for a character since I bought my first 3. And I've been lucky enough that every time I do the random drop one, I haven't gotten a repeat so far, and I'm up to 14 characters now. So I like it, and I like that they're finally going to be putting villains in. I think Doom is the first villain that's going to be playable. But, I guess Taskmaster is kind of the first villain that's playable. You can start off with him now. He's one of the intro characters, but yeah. I actually started playing with my Wii Fit U again. Because I want to lose some weight before the holidays. And everything was going good until I had to start going to a couple funerals and wake things and got me off my rhythm. So 2 days.
They try and feed you so much food.
Eating wasn't the horrible part, because I'm not really keeping track of that, but it was I didn't even have time to do the exercises or nothing. So I got to get back on that tomorrow or Wednesday and get a rhythm going again. 2 days in, that fucking shit happens.
Do you have the little pedometer thing with the little face on it?
Yep, sitting right here next to me. It's your me. It's not just a face. It's the me you designed.
I have one. Everyone's super amused by it. I honestly haven't used it in months now. I'm gotten so fat I need to start again, just like you. But my me, I did such a good job on the little digital face because it's a little less detailed. Looks exactly like if someone were to draw an 8-bit me, and people are fucking super amused by it. So every time I like have it on, my friends always are like, "Show that to everyone. It's great." And I was like, fine. It looks like a tiny 8-bit me. It's very creepy.
One of the other things I've been doing is I upgraded my main cabinet. It now runs what's it called, hyperdrive. I think it's we'll call it hyperdrive. Hyperspin. It's hyperspin. It's a complete interface it's a graphical interface just for getting through your game catalog on your system. It looks so much more like you're moving through an arcade game versus picking out of a fucking static list of text. It just made a huge improvement when I put a new computer in there that I got from my mother-in-law, which is actually worse than the computer I'm on now, but still better than the one that was in the main cabinet before. It took a long time to get set up, though, and it's still not perfectly complete. All the MAME stuff works. NES and Super Nintendo are good, but I'm also adding Atari Lynx. That's not working. I'm adding Atari 2600. That works sometimes. The Sega Genesis stuff's not working yet. The ColecoVision stuff's not working, and I think there was no. Oh, Game Gear and the 3 Game Boys are not working either yet. So that's my project for the winter is getting that fully up and running. I went and played in a Super Tecmo Bowl tournament. It was awesome. I was the only one to sign up. And the guy running the tournament made his, I don't know if it's wife or girlfriend, play me just so I had someone to play and that there was someone playing it. And it was to win the system it was on, which was an NES on a chip with cheap hardware. So like the controller, when I wanted to go diagonal, made me go backwards. Which, I don't know if you've ever played Super Tecmo Bowl. Yes? No?
Yes, I have.
You want to go diagonal a lot because it's harder for the guys to tackle you. So I would go diagonal and I'd have this good lead and I'd hit the other, the down angle and my guy would run backwards into the fucking defenders. I'm like, you fucking son of a bitch. I think I won by a touchdown and a blocked field goal. So I didn't do too bad. She was pretty good. So I won the system and I'm thinking to myself, I have 2 Nintendos at home. The controllers on this are a piece of shit, though they do have the right connectors to connect real ones. Like, you know what? You can keep the system, just give me the fucking game. So that's what I did. I just took the game home. This is the same place that I won my Super Nintendo, by the way. So I don't know if they're going to do another tournament or not.
Yeah, I think Tecmo Bowl had a tiny following, but not anything like some of the games you've mentioned before for tournaments. So that might be part of the problem.
Actually, there's people who keep Tecmo Bowl up to date with modern rosters and stuff.
Well, yeah, but I don't think those people are going to go to your local Applebee's to play.
Yeah, probably not. Although when I mentioned that on Twitter, the guy who runs that website was like, "Hey, where is this?" I'm like, "Batavia, New York." And I never heard anything back because he's probably like, where the fuck is that? And then I picked up Portal and started playing that again because I was always stuck at 2 levels before you get out of the intro stuff. Where I forgot her name. The AI talks to you all the time.
GLaDOS.
That's it. So right before you get done with that section and you get into the dystopian world around it, which I didn't even know existed, I was always stuck there. And so I finally started all over from the beginning, played through, and now I'm out in that dystopian world, and I haven't played in a couple weeks and probably forgot everything I'm supposed to do. Which is the worst part of playing multiple games and having low attention span, by the way.
You make portals, and then you walk through portals.
Thanks, Dick.
That's pretty much it.
Appreciate that. Did you play the Bayonetta 2 demo yet?
I did not. I've never played the first game.
You don't need to play the first game to play the demo, and if you buy Bayonetta 2, it comes with Bayonetta 1.
I'll probably get on it. Probably.
It scored a 9.5 on IGN and a 10 on GameSpot. I think it's the 8th game GameSpot's ever given a 10. If you play the demo, dude, you will fall in love with it. It's got great action combat. I don't know shit about it other than she's a hot bitch who uses her hair as a weapon and is extremely sexualized. But damn if it's not a great looking game. I think the Wii U really holds up against the other systems. People just aren't willing to give it a chance. Did you play a Smash Brothers demo?
I did. I've got to be honest with you. I don't like Smash Brothers, and I never have. So I played it, and I was like, yeah, this is Smash Brothers. I'm done here.
I'm going to pick it up just because it has Mega Man and Pac-Man in it. Oh, and the Duck Hunt dog. You can play as the fucking Duck Hunt dog. But I'm waiting for that to be a Christmas gift. I played the demo as well. It was kind of fun, but it needed more options, and it needed to tell me what the fucking control scheme would be on the 3DS. How do you put a demo out and not tell me what the buttons do and make me figure it out?
Because it's Smash Brothers, and all you do is smash buttons.
It's more technical than that, and you know it.
It doesn't feel that way.
and I'm just about to finish Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. Um, it it's a great game. If you like either of those series, you'll like this game. But it feels like two games with one storyline because they never really intermix. You're either doing courtroom stuff or you're doing puzzle stuff, and it's not often that. I think it happened once that you actually left the courtroom to do a puzzle and came back. So you they didn't need to be combined in that way. It's almost like they had two development teams. Like, here, you're going to get this chapter, and you're going to get this chapter, and you're going to get this chapter, and you're going to get this chapter. And they should have just had one team do the whole game, and I don't think they did. And just before the show, I played some Beat Hazard, which is a dual-stick shooter that takes your music library and makes it a space shooter, and it's just awesome. And the only reason I played it was because there was a discussion on Twitter today about why can Led Zeppelin take some riffs from another song and put them in Stairway to Heaven and not get flagged for copyright, but we can't even make comments over songs on YouTube. I was like, well, here's our Beat Hazard video from Late Night Steamer where it's banned in Germany because of how many copyright violations it has. Yeah, I made that.
Nice. That's outstanding.
So we talked about you moving into a house. You got any other cool news?
No, that's about it. I've been painting, hanging blinds, hanging curtains, moving in, getting everything set up, realizing how shabby and like apartmenty and frat boy my furniture is, and how I need to buy new ones and don't have any money. Because it turns out when you owe the bank all your money, you don't get to keep any of it.
That's how that works, yeah, normally. For my house, we actually had to fix some shit. We had a window with some rotted wood on it that we had to get done before the winter came. Then my wife wanted to put new windows up in the attic. So we searched around the attic and found fucking windows that should have been installed in the first place or had been pulled out of somewhere or something. So we just were able to get everything up there taken care of basically for free, which is nice considering I'm not working really. Been going to school. That's something. The only class that's hard is my Cisco class. The other three are fucking cake. But Cisco has you learn such fucking detail on their shit that you're just like, go away. I understand how a fucking switch works already. I don't need the fucking OSI model bullshit.
Wait till you get deeper, because the next level Cisco is this just way deeper shit, and most of it you'll never use on a daily basis, even if you are a network engineer. And then there's a Juniper version that's the exact same test with different nomenclature, because why not? And
Just to fuck
a little different because Junipers behave a hair differently, or a lot differently, really, on the surface. But the meat and potatoes are fairly similar. But the tests are different enough that you have to study independently, and it's a pain in the ass. I'm actually studying for my JNCIS right now, and I hate it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever go for Juniper because the Cisco shit's enough.
Junipers are way better. Like, it's unfortunate that Cisco has the stranglehold on the market, because Junipers, man, they like, if you work on a Cisco and when you commit a change, it instantly happens. Like, so you can screw yourself. Like, you're like blah blah blah, boom, and it's done. It turns it off. Like, if you turn off an interface, it turns it off. Juniper, when you do a change commit, it actually commits it without actually applying it. So it makes a new config, and you can then compare everything, and it'll tell you like, hey, this isn't going to work, or et cetera, or you're breaking these features, and it gives you all this stuff before, so you can commit it, look at it, see if it changes anything, and then hit go. And that is fantastic.
That is a great feature.
It is the goddamn best. It is just the best. And it tackles from a hierarchical, almost like a programming standpoint, instead of like esoteric levels. So like when you go into a level, instead of just changing the little beginning tab, it actually shows you the levels you're stepping down. Like when you look at the config, it looks like looking at like commented code. Like each hierarchical level like function is indented under what's preceding it, so you can tell how everything interacts. It's Junipers are so much better, but so much more expensive.
Today we had to hook some shit up and make it work, and the labs don't even help you. It's like, hey, you learned this 3 weeks ago, but you haven't been in a lab since. Do you remember how to disable DNS lookup on this router? Fuck no, I don't remember that asshole command that's fucking 4 words long and you can't easily find it with a question mark system. Fuck you, I'm going to the internet.
Oh yeah, man, half my day is internet. Are you kidding?
School. It's a fucking thing. I started a blog using our website since, no one goes to our actual website and we can have unlimited subdomain names. I created randark.returnoftheretro.com and started writing about my gaming adventures. So basically everything I said above when I was talking about the games I played is on there if you want to read about it. But yeah. Oh, and my English teacher told me I am a very talented writer, which I don't quite believe, but she said it, and she reads tons of people's English, so it must be true. Go check out my blog. Have you read it yet?
No, I'm a horrible friend.
Good. Thanks, buddy.
I didn't even know you had one till the show notes.
I sent you a text or something about it.
I'm a bad friend. I said that already.
All right, well, I think that's going to get us into news, unless you got something more.
No, I think we've berated each other enough about our exploits.
All right. All right, so this week for news, we got about 6 or so articles that I found a couple days ago that, I've been monitoring it while we've been going along, but at the same time, there's been some cool new stuff. We've talked about the Doom ATM and the Doom piano. Have you seen the Doom printer yet? Oh, this is in blue. Yeah. You were supposed to present it. Well, you're now red for the news section, okay?
You've thrown me. I read all my articles already. You're killing me.
All right, I'll do this one and Atari Lynx, and then we'll switch back, okay?
Trying to confuse me.
All right, so Doom printer. Are you there?
I thought you said you were going to do this one.
Okay, you just weren't talking. I wasn't sure what was going on. You do this one. Just fuck it. You do it.
Fine. It prints. Fine. So a dude got a Doom running on a Canon. How do you know how you say that word? Pixma? Is that how you're supposed to say that?
Sure.
Pixma. Printer, which is their newer style of printer. They come with those stupid little LCD screens that you flip up, and they, most of the Wi-Fi, you can set the Wi-Fi on there and everything. It's basically got like a little browsery system on there. And a Michael Jordan, not the Michael Jordan, nor the actor Michael B. Jordan, a different human being altogether, spent 4 months of his life finding a security hole so that he could reprogram this thing and put Doom on this bad boy. And I don't know whether to be sad or impressed. And I'm going to go with impressed because it's in my hobby. So that's awesome. And it's pretty awesome. He does go on to mention that it's actually a really bad hole, and because of weak script and stuff, people can hack a printer. I don't know what they're going to get out of it.
Shit, someone used this all like
right? Like, you just squirt all their ink into your printer and ruin it. Maybe. I don't know. But on the upside, you can play Doom on that bad boy. So
it's crazy what they can do.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Then someone decided to take another old system, the Atari Lynx. Did you ever have one of these when you were a kid?
No, I did not.
Did you know anyone who had one or anything?
No.
I did not. So my dad's partner at the restaurant he owned, he bought one of these for his grandchildren. And we got to play it when we went to his house. And, I was really impressed by it. It really blew the Game Boy out of the water. I mean, full-color screen. You held it with 2 hands comfortably, not thumbs right next to each other type deal. And it really was a great system. And that's one of the reasons I'm going to have it on... Oh, thanks, Gabe. Thanks for telling me that now. That the music was drowning out my voice. Next time I'll just let it play, I guess. But that's why I'm going to put it on my main cabinet. And someone decided to take the Atari Lynx and hook it up to a TV finally. They modded it, and they have a TV out so they can play all their great games on hardware on a full-size TV. And by the look of it, it looks like it scales pretty well. I mean, it's not real pixely like you would expect or anything, you know. They even added a flashcard mod to it to get all the games on it. It's pretty awesome.
Huh. I guess maybe one day I will actually play an Atari Lynx game. Maybe.
The,
Probably not.
the
But
game,
maybe.
the game I remember playing as a kid was California Games, which of course was on a couple other systems as well. But it was still cool to see full color surfing in your hands at that age. This came out in like 88, 89, somewhere around there. Anyway, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, somebody, group of somebodies, has taken it upon themselves to make a 2D version of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. They are making it into the style of, as we discussed earlier, Link to the Past, or if you're going newer, Link Between Worlds. And they are not using any of the original code or ROM. It's they're starting from scratch and just using essentially the story and the bosses and stuff as inspiration for making the game. But they're hoping, and it's only about 10% done. And the hope is because they're not using original code that they won't get their pants sued off by Nintendo. That's no guarantee because Nintendo, they love them some suing pants. So we'll see how that goes. I wish them the best, and the little bit I've seen the video of looks super cool. So I actually really want to play this one day.
So do I, because I can't stand playing 3D Zeldas for more than a half hour to an hour at a time because I just hate the way he moves in 3D. I know that's sad and depressing, and Ocarina of Time is like one of the best games ever, but still, I don't like it. I don't like 3D Zeldas.
That's weird. Ocarina of Time's great. Majora's Mask was kind of just a rip-off of Ocarina of Time because you went to all the same dungeons and fought the same bosses again, for the most part. But it was still a good game, and here we are now. 3D Zeldas are good. That being said, I did not like the Wii one. What was that?
Skyward Sword.
That's actually the only Zelda game I've never finished. I made it like an hour in, and I was tired of waggling the controller. God, I hate the Wii. I hate it so much. Waggling is stupid. It's so stupid.
They really
the Wii
need
U,
to stop putting that into games.
Yeah, I like the Wii U's controller. That thing's great. I don't want to waggle. I never want to waggle. I don't want to do it. I just don't. When I'm playing Zelda, I don't want to like wiggle to cut grass or use this like weird two-hand system where I've got the thumbstick over in my left hand off in the middle of nowhere, and I'm playing with this stupid, it looks like a fan remote to my Hunter ceiling fan, and I'm trying to make the game. No, give me a controller. You let me play Zelda Skyward Sword with my damn Pro controller, and we will talk. We are in business. But until they do that, I will never play that game.
I would agree with you. My biggest complaint with the waggling on the games I've played, it works really well in Metroid 3, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. You get to reach in and twist the locks and pull them back out. That stuff works great. But when you have New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and you give me a propeller hat, and I have to shake the fucking remote to make my guy go up, all you're doing is moving my hands around the controls and making me feel like an asshole.
Oh yeah, me and my buddy played that game together, and actually we played 4-player, and I was on the Pro controller, and we fought over it every time we got together, but because it's mine, I got to use it. And screw you, Travis, if you're listening. I hope screw you. That's my controller. And everyone was constantly dying because they couldn't wiggle enough to make like the propeller hats go, or they'd be in the bubble and they'd accidentally wiggle and pop themselves and die again, which is hilarious, by the way.
That is hilarious. That is fucking funny. That's the best. That is the best part of that game is leaving people in bubbles.
It happens so much. Like they'd wiggle the bubble and then just fall into the middle of nowhere. It's ridiculous. Yeah, wiggling is stupid. Waggling is stupid. The Wii U controllers are stupid. Pro controllers forever.
Gabe Newell says he might want to waggle later in bed, and that's not something I want to see. Gabe Newell's a big guy. Anyway, new world record was set in Donkey Kong. It is awesome. I think it's 1,141,000, and some change by Robert Lakeman.
So what you're saying is there's no reason to watch King of Kong now.
Yes, because that's been destroyed by other people. Except for you do get to see how much of an asshole Billy Mitchell really is. And Lakeman was nice enough to put up his entire video on Twitch, or you can just watch the last level 21, which is playing right now in our stream, of how he got from here all the way up. And you really get to see an expert player play the game, and you look at it. I don't know if you've played much Donkey Kong, but I have, and I'm like, how the fuck does he make those little adjustments? That shit never works for me.
Yeah, I'm so bad at Donkey Kong. I am so bad. Like the worst. It might be because I'm drunk every time I play it, but it's the arcade cabinet I play the most when I go to the bar that we have, the barcade, and I'm so bad at it. I mean, part of the problem is that the cabinet they have is kind of shit, so the controls are really loose.
Oh,
But
yeah.
some of that's an excuse. Lag, bad map, like at some point take responsibility, and I suck at Donkey Kong so much.
Just the point whoring he's doing, watching him, it's like, I wouldn't even bother. Just get me to the top. I need to be at the next level because these fucking barrels are going to kill me. But congratulations to him. He did that back in September. That's awesome. I wonder if someone is ever going to clear the 1.2 million mark, because they didn't think 1 million points was possible till Steve Wiebe did it. So just awesome. And I can't fast forward the video, but at one point he gets on that spring level. Have you ever been on one of those levels?
No, because I'm bad at Donkey Kong.
Well,
I've never gotten that far.
In NES Remix, you can actually play those levels specifically on the NES version. And man, are they fucking ridiculous with those goddamn springs. Anyway, moving on to Wacky Wheels.
That's my cue, it turns out, and I should unmute my mic when he says that. Wacky Wheels, if any of you remember, was a blatant ripoff of Mario Kart. It was a Mode 7 racer back in the 90s on PC. And Apogee made a ton of games for PC back when PC gaming wasn't necessarily all that cool yet. It was like all the super nerds were over there like me, but everyone else was consoling, and I did both.
I was going to say, fuck you, I'm a super nerd.
I did both, but Apogee made, for the most part, blatant ripoffs of stuff. Like nothing, like there's no Mario in the game or anything, but you're a bunch of cartoon characters in carts shooting objects at each other, and it came out like a week after Mario Kart. But that being said, it is still a really fun game, and they're actually making it ported up and HD'd up here pretty soon, and that is kind of exciting because you could race as a panda bear, and that shit was awesome.
So you played this as a kid too, then?
Yeah, I did. I didn't play it a ton because I pirated it off a bulletin board system. And I don't know if the young whippersnappers know what that means, but it means I downloaded 30 different tiny files and built them into one actual file and then played this game.
Before the days of RAR.
Long before. Oh man, I downloaded Wolfenstein 3D off one of those things, and that shit took a month.
Excuse me. I also pirated this, but I did it the old-fashioned way. I borrowed my buddy's discs. But yeah, I loved this game as a kid, and I always played as the shark, thinking that maybe if I went by someone just right, he'd bite their heads off or something. That never happened, though. And I didn't even know what Mario Kart was when I had this, because, once again, no Super Nintendo. No one I knew had a Super Nintendo, so Mario Kart was just a commercial on TV. I didn't really understand what it was about. Mario shouldn't be in a fucking go-kart. But this game was fucking cool. And this particular level that we're showing right now with the water, that is exactly what I remember.
Yeah, I think there were like 4 levels in the whole game or something.
So the next article we got, Retroism. Most of these articles, by the way, we found on Retro Collect. I go for a lot of our news. They do a podcast too, but they're a UK site, so they all speak in the Queen's English. It's weird stuff. But the next article I want to talk about, I actually found on Engadget. And Retroism heralds the return of the gaming classics from Microprose and Accolade and others. So apparently, a bunch of old games are going to get re-released in Steam over the next few weeks. I want to say. Some of them are out now, but some of the games coming back are Sid Meier's Colonization, Pirates, Gold Plus, and Covert Action. They're also going to be on GOG and Amazon and Humble and several other places. But I don't know. Have you ever played any of these games it mentioned?
Yeah, actually, one of the first things my mother ever bought me when we got our first PC, it was a Tandy, was a 40 game collection from Microprose, and
Holy
most of them
shit!
were the. It was really cheap, but it was like these 40 games, and most of them were utter garbage. But the one I remember playing a ton of and loving was Pirates because you got to swashbuckle and shoot boats and stuff. And there was this whole like morale system and like micro system I did not understand as an 8-year-old, and I liked Pirates. Never did very well at it, but I played the shit out of it.
Uh, oh, Lab 208 has entered the chat. Hi, Lab. Yeah, I don't think I've ever played any of these. The only one in the article that actually rings a bell is this System Shock 2, but I didn't play it. I just remember seeing ads for it.
That was the game that BioShock is a spiritual sequel of. So there you
Oh,
go.
okay. Does that mean it has a cool place like, shit, now I can't remember the name of the city. Rapture?
I don't remember System Shock a ton, to be perfectly honest with you. I know it does take place in a specific locale. I don't remember what it's called. Uh, it's been, God, 20 years since I played that game. Maybe more. I'm old.
Well, that's about all we got for news. You want to start us off? Oh no, I'm supposed to start us off because I'm an asshole. I didn't change colors the right way.
Yeah, no, you went red for like ever. This is all you, buddy.
Yeah, it is red kind of forever in the dock. Anyway, we're going to talk about Rogue Squadron, and let's hope that the music this time isn't being drowned or isn't drowning out my voice. So Rogue Squadron, an overland dogfighter. So this game is tremendous, just tremendous. But we'll get into that. I didn't press the right buttons. Now my theme song's playing when it's not supposed to be. It was developed by Factor 5 and LucasArts, mostly Factor 5. And it was published by LucasArts, obviously. It was designed by Mark Hay Hutchinson and Holger Schmidt. It was done. Factor 5 is a German studio, if you didn't know. And it was originally released on Windows in North America on December 3rd, 1998, and the EU in December of 98. And on the N64, which is the version we played, on December 7th, the day that will live in infamy, in 1998. And in the EU on January 10th in 99. That sucks for the EU right there because they didn't get to play it for Christmas. This game,
Also, probably missed out on all them sweet Christmas sales.
yeah. I mean, what the fuck? No one wants to pick up a game in January. You got a whole shit ton. Oh, Lab 208 was Geek Culture Andy, by the way. He asked if this is a commentary stream at the moment. And yes, you can comment all you want, and I will add it to the show because I'm that kind of guy. If that's what you mean. So Metacritic has a combined score of 85 out of 100 on this game, which is pretty damn good. Most games go high, but I would actually give it a higher rating than that. It has high-res graphics, and those were even improved when you had an expansion card. Did you play with an expansion card? Or did you play on hardware?
I did play on hardware. I did play with an expansion card. I played with my friend's N64 because if you remember, mine still doesn't work.
Yep.
I borrowed one, but I used my expansion pack. Aha!
Nice. I did not play with it, and I had to look up a video for the level I'm stuck on. And I looked at it and like, my shit doesn't look like that. It's amazing how much better it is with that fucking thing. It's night and day.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was fantastic.
Oh, fucking A. Anyway, so Rogue Squadron's retail success was not anticipated by the game's producer Julian Eggebrecht, who said that the game sold about 100 times better than anybody expected. And the N64 version sold over 1 million copies in the US and only 44,000 in Japan. Is Star Wars not a thing in Japan? I mean, come on.
Not until they added tentacles to the Sarlacc, and then it piqued their interest.
Ah, I see what you did there, my friend. You want to talk about the story?
I can do that. Star Wars Rogue Squadron was a game in 4 parts. Once I find my doc here, the first chapter revolved mostly around the defection of an Imperial officer, Crix Maydeen, who you attacked an Imperial post as a distraction to get him, and he ends up later piloting another squadron of Y-wings that I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, but he has his own squadron. So once that happens, Chapter 2 is just more like fighting the Empire stuff, but that eventually leads into capturing another Imperial officer who didn't defect. You captured was a lady, Kassan Moore, and when you capture her, I think I wrote him in the doc. That's a lady, though. She gives you intel that you use to fight more Empire, etc., etc. And one of those battles leads to Wedge Antilles' capture. Oh no! And then you set out to rescue him from a place you'll recognize, Kessel. I believe he was held on a space station orbiting the Spice Moon or whatever. Spice Moon. And then the final chapter has you fighting saving Mon Calamari. That's a stupid name, by the way. Like, delicious squid planet. Mon Cal, as we in the business call it, from a new Imperial superweapon, the World Devastators. And I put a note in here that the Empire should spend more money on Stormtrooper boot camp and less on big ass weapons. They don't work.
Geek Culture Andy says everything that Ervik just said in Wookiee. You don't have any comments on your Wookiee talk?
I can't make Wookiee noises. It's weird because I look like a Wookiee. So it's super odd that I can't make that noise. But it hurts my feelings, and I wish I could.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the gameplay. You play as a member of the Rogue Squadron. Actually, specifically, you play as Luke Skywalker. You get to be Luke. You get to drive the battleship in Battlefield, and you get to be Luke in Rogue Squadron. Those are the rules.
Not for the whole thing, yo.
Well, for most of it, from what I noticed.
The end, Wedge becomes the leader.
Excellent. That's the way it should
Spoilers.
be.
And then he is the leader for the remaining games for the most part.
That's the way it should be because Wedge is better than Luke. There, I said it. No one can argue that. But the game puts you in the cockpit of several different Rebel fighters. You can pilot a Snowspeeder, the A-Wing, the Y-Wing, and everyone's favorite, the X-Wing. You can also unlock the Naboo Starfighter. It was one of the late things they added because this was coming out right when Episode 1 was coming out.
Don't forget the Millennium Falcon, yo. You could unlock that shit.
Could you unlock that? I saw it in the hangar, but I didn't know. Nothing said you could unlock it.
Yeah, you can totes unlock that.
That's awesome. Totes my goats. But anyway, each level demands you pilot a specific ship, at least the first time through. It looked like some of it was selectable after the first time through. Is that true? I mean, I was terrible at this, so I was lucky if I even got through a level, let alone score enough points to unlock anything.
If you unlocked, if you got, all right, see if I can remember these. There were 3 levels you could unlock, and they were special levels. It was Beggar's Canyon, Death Star Trench Run, and Battle of Hoth, I believe, in that order. If you got bronze on everything, you unlocked Beggar's Canyon. If you got silver, Death Star, gold was Battle of Hoth. And you could also unlock the Millennium Falcon, and I want to say it's TIE Interceptor. Interceptor is the one with the pointy wings, right? Comes to a point in the front instead of the traditional square. Or
which one?
Octagon. The TIE Interceptor, it has the points, right?
Yeah, it's
the front of the.
It's Vader. It's Vader's fighter with points. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could also unlock the TIE Interceptor. I forget how you had to unlock them. I think it was also passwords or bronze and silver, but those were on the bonus levels. So you had to do the special levels and score good to get the 2 really awesome weapons. And then on the special levels. You had to play as specific vehicles, like Beggar's Canyon. You played a T-16 Skyhopper because you were shooting down Womp Rats.
Because you're Luke.
Yeah, there was also it might have been the PC only version. I didn't take the time to try to unlock it in this one, but there was if you had the right password, you could unlock an ATST and chicken walk around and just blow up stuff in a level. It wasn't a specific level. It was like this weird like sandbox demo-y thing, but you could like chicken walk around. It was like my favorite thing to do back in the day. You could like chicken walk around and shoot
That's
stuff.
pretty awesome.
So there you are.
So each ship feels different when you fly it. The A-wing is obviously faster than everything like it's supposed to be, which, to be honest, I think the A-wing feels the best in the game because of that. You can control your speed as far as you have three settings: regular, fast, and slow. But that's really enough. I mean, it's not trying to be X-wing or TIE fighter, or X-wing versus TIE fighter, which is a full space shooting simulator. But it has enough of those features that the game feels fun anyway. And let's face it, who doesn't want to have a harpoon and tow cable when you're in a snow speeder to drop an AT-AT? But I will say, the first time you do it, it's very difficult. How many times did you crash into the thing trying to do it?
I don't want to say that number. It's double digits.
I figured out that I could at the right speed you can just hold hold it and circle around it, and that made it a lot easier. But you had to find that speed first. My tongue is bigger than my mouth. Each mission has specific objectives. Take for instance, there's this one mission you fly in, and you're escorting your troops to go raid a prison. And so you fly in, and you got to take out a shield, and then you got to take out some defenses around the guys so they're safe. Then you got to protect them from the fighters that are flying around. And once you do all that, they get out of there, and everyone's safe. But the next mission, you could be flying over top of a train, trying to stop it from being bombed. And so they did a good job varying the missions enough that they felt different each time you went into them. But you could tell there was some repeats, but over the course of the 15 mission, I think it's 15 missions they have that are standard missions, not the unlockables. It felt different enough that it wasn't, repetitive. Until you were like me and had to do the same mission at least 3 times before you beat it. And that's if you got lucky. I think I had one mission I beat on the first try, and I think it was that train mission. But there's a good mix. Did you run into any problems with the mix? Did you feel it was too repetitious?
No, I love this game. One of my favorite parts of this game, weirdly, is not even the gameplay per se, but I love they go deep on the lore. Like most Star Wars games tend to be like, look, Luke and Han palling around. They're fighting in the trench on the Death Star, or blow up the Death Star, or you do shit you've seen 100 times. And while there is like the Battle of Hoth, et cetera, and I think the Battle of Hoth actually in all 3 Rogue Squadrons for whatever reason. It's at least in the first 2. There's a lot of really deep stuff. Like you go to the Imperial construction yards, you go to Corellia, you go to Gerard 5, you go to Mon Cal, you go to Kessel, you go to the prisons of Kessel. And it's just you get to see a lot more of the Star Wars universe than most other Star Wars games tend to let you see. And I thought that was when I was younger. This actually transitioned me into reading a lot of the Star Wars novels, which at the time were really good, like the Thrawn trilogy and the Rogue Squadron books, because of how much I enjoyed the lore from playing the game. And then eventually the Star Wars novels got terrible, but we're not going to get into that.
The Rogue Squadron books, I loved all of those. Even when they became Wraith Squadron, I read every single one of those. I didn't have this game, though. I had a PC, didn't have it for that. I didn't have an N64, so obviously I didn't have that. But when I first got into playing it for the show, I was like, oh man, I hope there's good space battles like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, because I had both those games. I had X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, I had X-Wing Alliance. I just loved that series. And I was kind of disappointed when every one of these is over land. But
there's 1 or 2 that are in space, right? The Imperial Space Yards and I forget the other one.
I didn't run into that mission.
But I mean, they still play the same way.
Yeah.
Like you can't do it. You're still on a 2D plane essentially. You can move, but you can't like go anywhere. You can't go straight down. You can't go straight up. You know, you're limited to the tiny box in which you are encased, which is fine. That's what the game is. But you know, I think they limit you a lot to the land missions because when you put them in space, you feel more trapped because you can see places you can go and can't go. Whereas on the ground, can do a good job of boxing you in with mountains on the ground and
Hmm.
stuff. So I think that's why they chose that direction.
It also makes sense for a console game at the time. It didn't have all the space they would need to have wide open area like X-Men versus TIE Fighter. But there's been some cool comments going on in the chat. Danaby94 who came because he wanted to see someone actually streaming this game for a change because apparently that doesn't happen much on Twitch. But he had a nice pun. Yavin fun. You're not groaning.
Silently, silently.
And Andy says, no, there's no love for Porkins.
That's because Porkins doesn't do anything but sweat heavily and die.
Stay on target.
Stay on target.
Andy also did the Kessel Run in under 12 parsecs. You know, that's a unit of distance, not time, but good for him. And we actually got a really nice comment from Lab 208, which wasn't Geek Culture Andy. I was confused by what was being said. And Lab 208 said, I'm going to go, but nice content. So that's pretty cool. That random guy popped in and said we had good content. I like that. And Gabe Newell's back, and he said, is this the part where Kirk fights Spock at Hogwarts?
Yes, Spock dies.
Oh, Andy said Spock kills Dumbledore when he's killing, or while he is killing Obi-Wan.
No, Spock gets irradiated by Rick Scott. That's a joke for Floridians because Rick Scott, our governor, and who's campaigning again, looks like Voldemort. He does too. Looks like Voldemort. Is terrible. It's a shame because he's a Republican, so it's like I don't want to laugh at the guy, but
great.
he looks like Voldemort. It's hard to take a man that looks like Voldemort seriously. Like I keep expecting Harry Potter to show up and like wizard him to death. I don't know. It's not great.
Oh, so you want to talk about the music and sound effects?
Yeah, you know, they're, you know, N64 quality. They're not great, but they are very Star Wars. You get all your traditional Star Wars themes. You get your laser sounds, your pew pews, and your ion cannons, and it does a really good job. It's you know, it's unfortunate for it that it does stray very close to the Star Wars, so you can't be like, "Oh man, this music is great. It's the best thing ever." It's Star Wars music. Dun 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 dun, dun. It just, you know, does the Star Wars thing a bunch, but it does it really well. The sounds all sound like the ships and the sounds that you were used to hearing, which is, you know, exactly what you want in a Star Wars game. So I think it did a perfectly admirable job of replicating said sounds.
I would completely agree. It just brought back memories hearing some of the themes. You know, sitting there as a little kid, just watching guys fly through the asteroid field or something. So, to me, you know, I got the task of wondering if this game held up at all. And while it's not, you know, it's not what it could be today, it still is a lot of fun to play. You get to fly around in all the ships you loved watching as a kid. Some of them you only get to see a few times, like in the Battle of the Second Death Star in the case of the A-Wing. But it was just so cool to fly around and destroy stuff like the AT-ATs and the you know, blowing up big sections of prisons and shit and dropping bombs on people. And it was the best part was getting behind the TIE bombers that are so fucking slow and just lighting them up.
Yeah, well, and that's super cool because stuff like the bombers, the interceptors, and stuff you didn't outside of the Tie Fighter games and the X-wing versus Tie Fighter games. You didn't see a lot of, like, they were in the movies, but usually background, you know, one or two scenes, and some of them weren't even. But getting to see those and interact with them a lot and fly them and stuff was a lot of fun. And I feel bad. I didn't know you didn't play this with the expansion slot because that does make a huge difference.
Yeah, I played without it up until where I'm at now, and I think I think they're $5 down at the store, the local retro gaming store for a knockoff one. I think I'm just gonna go pick one up because the amazing, tremendous difference. I mean, my wife watched me play some of this game, and then I had a video on when she walked into the room. She's like, "What happened to the graphics? Why does it look like a real game now?" And I'm like, "No, this is a video through my Chromecast. This isn't me, but this is what it could look like." She's like, "Oh, damn." She couldn't believe that the N64 put out graphics of that quality.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. Like essentially, what that expansion slot was a ton of memory and like a tiny little processor. So it did a lot of good work. It was odd of them to plan ahead for that, though. I will say, like,
Yeah,
you don't see that nowadays. Like, you don't count your PlayStation 4 doesn't come with like a little hole. Like, oh, flip this up and put a new Intel processor in there. You're good to go. Like, that was a very forward thinking and has not been done since. I think
the guy who made this game that I mentioned earlier, what was his name? Julian Egerbrecht, just did an interview with IGN. I sent you a thing saying you should listen to it. I don't know if you got a chance to. Did you?
no. Between moving, playing, and sleeping, that's about all I've had time for. I want to catch up on all my news and stuff. I promise. I'll read the blog. I will.
Terrible friend. But he mentioned about development of this game and everything, and there also the interview was on IGN on Nintendo Voice Chat, and it's just a great interview to listen to if you're interested in any type of Star Wars game that Factor 5 was a part of, or just game development in general. And he talks about how they had planned for that to be in there, and there was plans for other things that they actually had to cut back. And this is their first Star Wars game, but it was really interesting. If someone wants to know more than what we know or are going to mention here, you really should go listen to that interview. It was great. So overall playing experience, what do you think?
It brought back all the memories I loved. I will say that playing this game, I played the sequel, Rogue Leader, a lot more. And
that was on GameCube, right?
Yeah, and it was one of the first games I ever got for my GameCube. But it was, which for the record, I think I got in Hawaii when I was on my way out of the Navy. I think it was when I bought my GameCube finally. I was a little late to the party. But I loved my GameCube, and so I played that game a lot. So when I was playing this one, I kept going, when's that level coming up? And it never did, obviously. Because the games blended together. But playing it again, I realized I'd only played this once or twice as a kid. So I got to see a lot of the game that I don't remember very well, so it almost felt fresh. So it was a lot of fun. I had a blast playing it. I love this game. Just the most.
I can't disagree with anything you said. The game was great. The visuals bring you back to the original trilogy, which are, as far as I'm concerned, is the only trilogy. Fucking amazing game. That being said, I'm only going to give it a 7. And I think that's because I didn't have the expansion pack. I think with that, I probably would have bumped it up to an 8. But there's not enough Wedge.
The sequel has like all Wedge all the time. Just boot that shit up. You'll enjoy it. That game's great. All Wedge from here to the infinity. It's all Wedge for days, all the way down.
And there's one other thing I didn't mention that kind of detracts from it. The predetermined patterns of the enemies. You can get behind a pack and just follow it around, knowing exactly where it's going to go repeatedly. Especially in the mission where you're rescuing Crix Medine from the city. I think it's like the 3rd or 4th level, and they constantly fly the same pattern over the top of the buildings.
Man, what do you think this is? Half-Life 3? They didn't have random AI back then. Shit was on a rail.
I know, I get that, but it detracts from the game. It does. So it can't get as high a rating as Mega Man or what was the other game I ranked with? Super Metroid. Sorry.
Well, those games didn't have. I mean, like, when you were fighting in Chrono Trigger, there was the predetermined pattern of combat, like based on your etc. It would do X.
But I couldn't see it as obvious as this.
That's true. There's no way around that, and it's unfortunate, but it is again, that's why I gave it an 8. I think the sequels learned a lot from these and improved, and I can't give these a 10 and then give the sequels a 10. So I gotta give myself room to grow. So we go 8. I love this game, but there are some minor problems, and I think like Rogue Leader to me is a 10, like just straight up a 10. This is close. It's close.
Andy says hashtag move play sleep is the new hashtag gym tan laundry. You're inventing new shit as we go there, Ervik.
What can I say? I'm a trendsetter.
And Gabe Newell says, I think if you mod your PS4, they come lock you up. Is that true?
I think they have built-in self-destruct buttons. I think if you open it, like I think if you take the screws out, it just explodes. And it doesn't kill you, it just kills your whole family and then sues you.
And Gabe also has fond memories of staying home sick from school and playing Dragon Warrior on NES, which is my favorite RPG on the NES.
I also got sick and stayed home, but I played Demon Sword because that game is ridiculous.
That game is awesome.
Bouncing like across entire maps for whatever, swinging your big old sword. I didn't know what this shit was going on, but I love that game. I still don't know what that game was about.
Sword. That thing just gets longer and longer. I don't think I ever beat it, but I did get the sword to max length. That was a great game.
You know, it feels like it's like half the map. I don't think it is, but it feels like half the map. Like he's just winging that bad boy around.
So you brought up what our next game's going to be to me on. I think we did it over text message this week. What are we playing?
Metal Gear. None of that Metal Gear Solid bullshit. We're going old school. We're going Nintendo. You need a paper map. Or, the internet has got it, but the paper map. And we're going to play, like, top-down 2D Metroid. Yeah. Metal Gear. Shut up.
Actually, a top-down 2D Metroid would be kind of cool.
Right?
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet. I think they call that in a fantasy setting. I think they call that A Link to the Past. But anyway. Yeah, so Metal Gear. This is a game I actually did play as a kid. But I only ever got to into the first building and had no clue what to do and usually pissed something off and died. So.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of rote memorization. I'm curious how you're gonna do because you had to have the map to get through certain areas and fighting. One of the bosses is just a computer. It's a computer, dude. You fight a computer.
Well, I figured that would be the Metal Gear, right?
No, Metal Gear is a big old robot-y thing.
Okay, because I haven't played Solid or anything like that.
You never played Solid?
No, I didn't have a PS1. I have a PS1 now, though, so we can put that in the list.
God, the Psycho Mantis fight is one of the best things ever developed by anything ever.
I do know it has a lot of break the fourth wall type shit in it, which is pretty awesome.
Your controller would stop working, and you'd have to and it didn't tell you. You had to figure out. You had to go unplug it and plug it into the other slot. It would just stop working. And he would taunt you. He'd be like, what do you think this is? Castlevania? You playing like a noob.
That's awesome.
He would read your memory card and comment on games you had played. It was awesome. That game's awesome. Metal Gear is always going to have a special place in my heart. It's one of the first NES controllers. Yeah, if you were the Psycho Mantis fight, you would plug in 2 controllers because swapping took too long. So it was actually yeah. See, there you go.
He didn't spoil it, Andy. Andy says, spoiler, use the other controller. He says, bah, Ervik spoiled it. He didn't spoil it. I heard it on a different podcast. What was it? ContinueCast, which is no longer being produced. They did a whole show on it. But
yeah, that whole game is great. But the Metal Gear lore is just batshit crazy. So you can see where it all started when it was quasi-normal.
All right, so we're going to talk about Metal Gear. It looks and sounds awesome. So, you got anything else for the peoples before we go?
Don't buy a house. It's a trap. And that's it.
Come on, we're doing a Star Wars game this week, and you're going to say it's a trap, not it's a trap!
I was leaving that for you.
Okay.
We were even on Mon Cal, man, together, fighting world devastators. And it was a trap. Yeah, it's just like buying a big coffin you live in. It's just. Ugh.
It's like, hello, Coffin. How are you today? Just remember, you can't take this with you when you go. They won't bury your whole house for you.
I'm gonna burn it down. I'm gonna burn it to the ground when I die.
Don't wait till then. You won't get the insurance money.
I'm pretty sure they'd know it was me. I'm on air now.
All right. We won't publish this one, okay? Will that make you feel better? All right. Say goodbye. We're just rambling now.
Goodbye.
Come here.
Stay on target.
I screwed it up again. This is our intro song. I'm going to have to cut this out. And then we're going to go to the outro song now.
Stay on target.
Thanks to Timber, freesound.org for our theme song. Be sure to check out returnoftheretro.com and randark.returnoftheretro.com.
And remember, stay on target.
Porkins.